Today I'm going to show you how to do research using LexisNexis, the library's news database. When you log on to Campus Web and click on the Library Resources tab, you'll find the link to LexisNexis under Articles and Other Resources. Once LexisNexis loads, you'll really get an idea of all the different kinds of information you can find through the database. You'll see that there's a news section to do news searching, a legal section to look up legal cases, or even a topic and find legal information on that topic, different cases, company info. You can research countries. It'll give you both business information and general country overview information. There's even a biography feature. And there's also a combined search where you can search one or more of the above categories. If you're looking up a company, you can not only search for company information, but you can also see where that company's been in the news, or even if they're involved in a legal case. For my first search, I'm going to look in the news. And you can see that you can choose your source type here, and that gives you an idea of the kind of information that's indexed as far as news goes within LexisNexis. You can see there's major world publications, which are going to be your newspapers from major cities around the world. Newspapers, which goes a little more broad. Even in Nebraska, it indexes down to the Omaha newspapers. There's magazines, news wires, broadcast transcripts, which includes news, television news and radio, as well as blogs. For this search, and I would suggest to all students to try all news, because that'll give you the opportunity to search everything, and then once we conduct our search, you can narrow it back down using the different facets that are available to you. For this search, I'm going to choose a fairly recent topic, which would be the NBA championship. You'll notice I put my search terms in quotes. What this does is it makes sure that the database searches for the entire phrase NBA championship. When a student does a search and it's a phrase, but there are no quotation marks, the database looks at each term individually. So by typing this phrase without the quotation mark, it's going to look for any article that either has NBA or championship in it. So you could get results from all other kinds of championship games, or any other NBA games, or goings-on in the NBA. So by putting the quotation marks, it makes sure that we just get articles on this specific aspect of it. I'm going to go ahead and click Go, which will help us search. And right from our categories, you'll notice that the database LexisNexis shows results by relevance. It immediately defaults to this. Now when you're looking up something that's time-specific like this topic, it's important to resort things. Sure, all of these articles are about NBA championship games. However, you can see our first result is 1998, 1996, all that. So by going here to the sort option, you can search newest to oldest. Right away, you can see that the results change, and it's more specific to this championship game in 2011. I'm going to go ahead and click the fourth result just to show you what the format looks like. You'll get all of the bibliographic information at the top. It'll give you the title of the article, the newspaper, the page, and sometimes the length. You can see the text of the article. It's quite short. But the great thing about LexisNexis is that there's also an option to find articles that are similar to this one. It'll give you suggested terms, for example, athletes, basketball, sports, people in the article, and then sometimes it'll also give you the geography of the newspaper that you're reading. And again, down the bottom, you'll get a little bit more information about the newspaper and the source. LexisNexis also gives you the option to print the article, email it to yourself, or save it onto a flash drive or your desktop computer. If you want to go back to your search results, you simply click Results List, and your results will load again. Now it's important to notice when you go back to the results, it'll default back to the relevance sorting. So if you want to go back and see the same articles you just saw, you'd have to go back and click Newest to Oldest. Your other option is to look to the left-hand side of the screen and see the different search facets that you can narrow by. You can look for individual newspapers from different cities, again the newswires and press releases, blogs, transcripts, statistics even. Just to show you how it works, I'm going to go ahead and click Blogs. And again, you'll see that it's sorted by relevance, so we'll go newest to oldest. And this is important to realize about LexisNexis. You have to sort before you go into each individual category. So by sorting once I was into the facet, it's automatically spit me back out to the original results page. So we'll go back to blogs, and you'll now see that they're organized the proper way. I'm going to click the second entry, the New York Times blog, off the dribble. And here you'll see it's just like the article. It gives you the information just like an article view. You can see the entire blog entry. Again, there are other ways to narrow your search. You can do it by publication name, subject, industry, a company, which in this case may not be the best idea, but another one is geography. You can look up Miami newspapers or Dallas newspapers and see what they had to say about the championship game. I'm going to go back to New Search and show you some of the other options in LexisNexis. Perhaps you're in a business class, or for one of your persuasive speeches or something like that, you need to look up a company. I'm going to go ahead and search for Facebook, and this is on the right hand side in the company info box. And you'll see that you'll get the company dossier. Now the great thing about this is that it automatically gives you all of the other options. It has a news module. It even has a legal spot where you can look up recent cases involving Facebook. So on the home page you'll get a basic description of the company, but then from there you can again look up current news, the executives in the company, and even key competitors. So for example, we'll click in the news, top publications. Again, you can pick what you want to look at by going to major newspapers. It'll give you lists of the most up-to-date newspaper articles relating to Facebook. The same goes for legal information. You can click recent cases and recent United States cases, and it'll show you any litigation that Facebook is involved in. The last search I want to show you is the legal search. You can look up citations or the parties, for example, Plessy versus Ferguson, or you can even look it up by topic. So if you have a controversial topic that you're researching, say, something like gun control or even segregation, which is what I'm going to look up, you can search that there. You'll notice there's also a spot in the bottom where you can look up landmark cases, and it will give you a long list of them. As I thought we might, again, you can see we've come up with a lot of results for this. I would suggest going through to retrieve the results. And once we get the results, you can really use those left-hand side facets to narrow down your results. You can see it goes by category, so by state courts, or the National Supreme Court, or in this case, You don't really have any other options. There's no companies or anything like that, so you can even look up the publication name where it would be. And in every case, you can see it'll be in a state legal book. So just by clicking the first link, you'll see it'll open up and it'll just give you a short blip about the case that you've clicked. And here you can see the history. It'll tell you what court it was appealed from. It'll give you an overview of what the case is about. And again, it will give you the outcome of the case. If you scroll through, you can get the more specifics of the case if you really want to read through that. In most cases, the summary and the outcome is good enough. That should help you out with the basics of LexisNexis, and if you have any further questions, don't hesitate to contact the library for help.